Hey everyone, I'm Madeline Sklar. Welcome to the Kratom Gals. This is your weekly space where Kratom consumers come together to stay informed, to share experiences, and have honest conversations about the issues affecting this community. At the heart of everything we do here is education, is advocacy, and is protecting access to natural kratom through open discussion and informed conversation. Now, today, as always, we're going to be reacting to the latest kratom news stories making headlines around the country. It's crazy how much of it is filled with misinformation. So we're going to be watching that and just some of the latest videos making the rounds and a whole lot more. Now, a quick note before we get started and we dive in. As always, this live stream is for educational purposes only. We're not medical professionals here, and nothing shared here should ever be taken as medical advice. We're sharing our personal experiences. We encourage informed discussion and advocate for responsible legal access to kratom. All right, let's bring the gals up so we can have discussions and be part of a community. Hi, gals. How are y'all doing?
Hi, everybody. As
Hello,
always,
everyone.
I'm excited to be here. And Sarah's back with us.
Yeah, so
Sarah's
excited.
back.
Yay.
Wonderful to have you back, Sarah. You've been missed.
Oh, I missed you. I missed you a lot too.
Yeah, it's not the same when any of our gals, our regular gals, are not here with us.
Yeah, I felt out of my normal routine,
Yeah.
like this is my day with all of you. Sorry, my voice. But yeah.
So how's
Well,
the move been?
Good. Unpacking all that fun stuff and reorganizing and everything, but it's good. I'm happy to be here. It's warm, so that's exciting. So I'm happy to be back in the heat in the South. So
Yeah. That's awesome. What were you going to say, Robin? I'm sorry, I didn't.
I was also going to say hi to Amanda because I know she's not going to be on this week.
Yeah, Amanda's not here with
We
us
miss her
today,
too.
but
Right. Hey, Amanda.
hey.
and we got an active live chat going. Y'all feel free to be conversing in there. People are welcome in the live chat as long as they're not trolling us and disrupting the live stream. So we
don't have to respond.
Yeah. You know the saying, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. And we haven't been getting that luxury, have we? We have not. So I'm sorry I got to do this and start the Kratom Gals with drama, but drama keeps finding us because we do this. We have a conversation, we hang out and let voices be heard. But there are some voices in the Kratom community that are insisting that they have to be heard in our webinars or discussions or live streams because we're not reading off their talking points that they've never given us. They don't like what we're saying. It's like, hold on. So I got to start off and do something really quick at the beginning here. And we've done this before. We've been down this road before. I'm going to play a short video clip of what he said, and then a short clip of what she really said. We played this game before, right? That involved Robin. What he said and what Robin really said. Well, I'm sorry I got to start off with this, but we have another one of those. So let me play you all a short clip from a few days ago of Mac Haddow, the American Kratom Association, and the things he just, decided he had to say. So watch this real quick and we'll talk about it.
I tried to get on and comment on their podcast last week while they were saying, we want everyone to come to the table and be a part of the discussion. That's what they said. I was commenting on their chat board, and they were recognizing it, saying, oh, Mac Haddow's here, and thank goodness he came on and criticized us because...
Thank goodness he came on. Nobody said thank goodness he came on. So number one, just keep that one in the back of your mind as we go through this.
It's elevated our viewership. I want everyone in the Kratom community to go and listen to the nonsense that they're peddling. because, and then I started, obviously giving comments. They wouldn't let me join as a panelist. They refused to do that. They won't come on a webinar like we're having tonight, which I've invited them to do. They won't do any of that, but they then blocked me. Madeline Sklar blocked me. And
What? I blocked him? Okay, Matt.
I screenshotted it, Marilyn, so don't try to say you didn't.
Wait.
Blocked me.
Okay, Marilyn wants to see the screenshot because you can't block somebody. So yeah, you said Marilyn did that and you have it. Okay.
We're making comments.
Is Marilyn your evil twin?
Her group of panelists
I don't know.
were saying, oh, we want everyone to have a viewpoint. They have them be heard. We want everyone to be here. This is a joke. And yet the apologists for the 7-H community have brought severe damage to the ability of consumers of natural kratom leaf products to have access to safely formulated.
What did we do? Because we have a discussion, an open discussion with personal experiences. What?
Plus, we've never brought anybody up during the show. I don't recall that ever occurring.
No.
Streaming or bringing somebody up. I've never.
I'm not sure
Not
what
familiar.
he,
Yeah.
but let me play a little bit more. We're almost done.
Properly labeled and age-gated products. And we know that those bans that are in place or partial bans that are in place because of the 7-H community, because of the profiteering that was going on. And yet I'll say it, there's no defense, none. And they'll whine and cry over there at the 7.
No, we're laughing. We're not whining and crying over here, criticizing our show. We're laughing.
Kratom Gals or Kratom Gals podcast. Let them. But we have to stand up for the principle.
So this
He says let him. Why doesn't he let us?
right. This was
That's
Wednesday.
all we're asking.
This
Leave us
was
alone.
Exactly.
You have your platform. Leave us with ours.
right. Well, you know what? He said that. I'll get to that. I'm playing this in progression. I do have a clip of him saying that a long time ago, and he's not even following what he has said. So that was the he said, right? Let me show you what we really said last week while he was in the live chat. From my point of view, it felt like trolling. We didn't want that.
And just get in trouble. So instead of just sending them out there, not knowing and not being educated, we want to make sure that if they decide to use it, they know what it is.
Right. Oh, Mac is in the live chat. It's like these guys
Like a
need to
reunion.
stop.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Well, and it's just like, this constant trolling in all of our social media with him and the others in the industry. It's like,
Well, if nothing else, take it as a compliment. They have to come see what we're doing.
I know it's crazy. Like before all of this, before our famous February 14th episode, I had to start over with the YouTube channel. Now I was making a lot of progress through our YouTube channel. And then when you lose it, because, we get in trouble talking about some things, you can't, YouTube's going to do whatever, just like TikTok and Facebook. So you have to start at zero. And we were still trying to build this up since December. We were only getting like 200 views per episode. Not anymore. So thank you, Mac.
Until February.
Yeah, we get a lot more now. So, okay. Thanks for putting such a spotlight. It also shows that, being loud voices attracts a lot of attention, huh? Yep, it sure does. Loud voices were attracting attention, I guess. So I'm not sure how he came up with what he said on his webinar this week versus what you can clearly see what actually happened. And here's the thing. Let me address this blocking that he, said so passionately there. When we were doing our last Saturday right here in here, when he was constantly commenting and disrupting this chat, I'll let somebody do it quite a bit. We let Todd Underwood do it quite a bit yesterday in our TikTok live. I don't know why I didn't put him in a timeout sooner, but I did eventually because he wouldn't stop. And I don't understand what's with these grown men bothering us and harassing us like this just because we want to have these discussions, and we're not promoting 7-OH. We're not advocating for 7-OH. Some of our co-hosts here share their personal experiences, and some of them have experiences with that. That's okay to talk about. It's their personal experience. Not one of y'all that has ever said anything on here about using 7-OH has ever sat here and talked about where to buy it, encouraging people to buy it, advocating for the 7-OH advocacy groups. So the people are getting misled with a totally different narrative that's not true. But here's the thing. I'm going to address the blocking thing, because that really bothered me, that he goes on his webinar with all the people tuning in, and with passion, you saw that she blocked me. Okay, let me give everybody a lesson in YouTube. And Mac, blocking is not the right term. YouTube does not allow you to block someone. They don't have a blocking feature. What they have is when you're in a live stream, like if somebody was being disrupted in the live stream, and again, I will let somebody do it for quite a while. And then I get to the point where I'm like, well, what's with this grown adult? Why are they doing this? You can put them in a timeout. So Mac got to the point where he wouldn't stop. We were ignoring him anyway, but it's disruptive to the people in the live chat. So I put him in a timeout.
Right.
So
and we just
could
want
not
to move
comment.
on and do the rest of our show.
And so I put him in a 24. He said he has a screenshot that, Marilyn, you can't deny this. I have a screenshot. Marilyn. So you cannot block somebody. I put him in a 24-hour timeout because he was disrupting us. When I saw what he said on that AKA webinar a few days ago, I'm like, he's accusing me of blocking him, and he's got the proof. So there's something else you can do. It's still not blocking. They don't have a blocking feature. So people can still see your stuff. They can see the videos. But I decided to utilize a feature so that he can't comment anymore, because who would, yes, people need to put themselves in my shoes. What we've been enduring nonstop from him since February, we rarely talk about it because we're just trying to move on, even though he keeps mocking us with names and spreading all kinds of misinformation, things that are not completely true, or framing it to his narrative. And we're just always just trying to rise above it. That's why we don't talk about it much. But he just keeps crossing these lines. And I was fed up with that. So let me show you, as soon as he did his webinar and he said that, once I caught the I wasn't watching it live, but once I caught the replay and watched it, let me show you all, and Mac, this is for you, so you'll know exactly what I did because of your actions. I think it pretty much warrants this. So even though Mac's going around saying I blocked him on YouTube, you can't block someone on YouTube. Let me explain to you how YouTube works. So what I did after you would not stop bothering us during our live stream is I put you in a 24-hour timeout. It's not a block. I'm going to make it so you cannot comment at all anymore. So let me show you. I'm going to click on the 3 dots here. I'm going to click on hide user from my channel. That's not blocking. All it does is make it so that you cannot keep commenting on the channel. You can still see our videos, but now you won't be able to continuously bother us. Bye-bye. There you go. And I tell you what, my next statement is, I'm done with him. I'm done with this. I'm done with this behavior. But the thing is, he was supposedly done with us back, and let me play the clip to remind everybody and to remind him on one of his many webinars. He actually said he was done with us. He encouraged everybody else to be done with this. So from last March, and I've been waiting for him to follow suit with his word.
Bottom line is that when you hide and you don't let an open, honest discourse take place, then you're hiding something. And I'm done with the Kratom Gals podcast, and I encourage everyone else to be done with them too, until they're willing to come forward and say what the honesty is. And I'll tell you something.
Okay, so
What is being hidden? Which is you don't hide anything. None of you hide anything.
And now Todd Underwood at Mint Wellness, who's been, nonstop tweeting on Twitter about me, is they think because I won't engage with them, because look, honestly, I got better things to do. They both like to argue with people. Go look at their social media. Go look at any time they're speaking. They like to argue. I got better things to do. Yes. And I got better things to do. So I'm not going to waste my time. It doesn't mean I'm hiding anything. If anybody wants to believe I'm hiding something, go ahead. I'm good with that. I have no problem with that. But because
it's like the only option you have in this conversation that they want to take place is to submit to their belief and thought process, and we're never going to get beyond that. That's going to be the only goal, period, to go on and on and on and on until we say, yes, you're right, I agree 100%, period. We can't, there's no conversation. That's the only, that's all that they want from it. So
he keeps talking about you wouldn't let him talk, whether it was a block or a timeout. How on his webinars, is everyone allowed to discuss what's going on? Their lives?
A lot of people. I've saw
how many times has he banned people?
Yeah, or they try to comment.
He removed emails,
so
that they don't even get notification of webinars, and yet we are the bad guys? No, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Get used to the fact that we don't have to entertain you.
Right. But
you are being paid to do a job. Go do your job.
Right.
And allow us to do what we choose to do, because you ain't it.
He should not be spending time doing things like this. He should be trying to advocate for the plant. That's what we're doing. That's what we have discussions about. We're not
exactly.
We're not arguing with people about silly. It doesn't make any sense. So why aren't you doing that? Why do you keep putting all your time into going, on here in the chats and everything? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well,
we should be allowed the same freedoms to say what we choose to say on our panels, on Madeline's show, as he is on his. You don't see us complaining or screaming or hollering, oh, we can't come on your show. Oh, you blocked us. I don't care. I choose to be on this panel.
And then
because I like being with like-minded people, and I like hearing what the audience has to say.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to agree. That's the joy and the beauty of living in the country I live in.
Yes, ma'am. For Independence Day, we were all here last week for Independence Day, but we're not allowed to have any independence. It's a day to celebrate our freedoms, but we're not allowed to be.
Well, he's called me a libertarian. This whole Madeline believes in live and let live. Like, he's put so many words in my mouth of things I have never said out loud. But it's like, if people want to believe it, but you know what? Here's what I'm sick and tired of: the berating, which is what we constantly get from him publicly. I'm counting up how many times he has publicly said my name on all these webinars he does and live streams. It's so excessive. But it's always this scolding and yelling, like in that first clip I showed y'all. And it's like, I'm not discounting the amazing work he's done for the Kratom community for the last 10 years. We've talked about that many times here. And we're grateful for the hard work he's done. But going after advocates in the Kratom community and treating them this way is, just no word.
I'm not trying to be cruel to anyone else out there, but I really wish someone else would take a turn at making him mad so he leaves us alone for a little while. Just because I'm sick of it. And I don't want to reach the point where I say things I shouldn't say.
Yes. And if he disagrees with what all of you talk about on Madeline's podcast, he doesn't have to listen or watch it. Just don't watch it.
Exactly.
Right. If anybody does not like
Scroll on.
Yeah.
Right.
If anybody does not like the content here, don't come here.
Exactly.
Don't hijack the live chat room. Like y'all in the live chat. Do y'all want somebody coming in here and hijacking the chat? And us just letting them do it because they want to debate or because
they have to watch because they need something to be mad at or something to, challenge or something to, I don't know.
It's just something we won't understand, right? And we won't understand because we don't treat people that way,
Right.
I don't understand it. So.
Yeah, exactly, Sarah.
So I look forward to getting back to doing what we're here to do, which is
exactly educating and
conversations
advocating
amongst ourselves, watch clips, discuss things, and be positive, because that's what all of us bring to this is the positivity and the faith that what we are doing is good.
And I'd like to get along with everybody. I don't want to have,
that'd be boring
or drama or anything like that with other people. I want it, things to be decent, but sometimes people can't. No, they can't have decency.
And we are not always all gonna agree. That's okay.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
That's part of what makes life worth living.
That is okay, but calling us names and mocking us is not the answer, especially somebody at his level in the industry, and it's like and
using his platform to attack us is not what the AKA was built for.
I mean, when he put out on the AKA's YouTube channel an entire video mocking us with AI sketches of us and just making up all kinds of crazy stuff, and that was when I did
that was quite extra.
That was when I did the he said she said, or he said what she really said, because it's like enough is enough. So that's why I ended it with that clip he did way back in March on one of his AKA webinars, one of his mini webinars where he's talked about me, talked about Robin, talked about us Kratom Gals, but he said he was done with us. Somebody needs to hold him to it. Mac, hold yourself to it.
So be done.
Be done with that.
He's an adult. Hold yourself accountable for what you've said. We hold ourselves accountable.
Exactly.
You need to do the same. You said you're done. Be done.
Exactly. And for me, not that I have to answer to anyone, but when some people over the months have said, well, why didn't y'all let him come on? Why didn't you let him debate y'all or whatever? It's like, first of all, why should we be subjected to what he wants? Number two, all I've seen in those AK webinars before he started coming at us in February, all I saw him do at every one of the AKA webinars was berate people that came on to talk to him. And it was so excessive, I couldn't watch them anymore. I was there to get information, to know what's happening in the world of Kratom advocacy so I can be informed and get involved. And I've got my platforms here, my multiple social media platforms where people are looking to get information from me to know what's the latest. Maybe they don't have time to watch the AK webinar. So I'm doing it for a lot of people on their behalf. And it's like, I just can't watch these anymore. It's like he's always yelling and screaming about people. And it's always someone, at least one person, usually more. And then all of a sudden he starts doing it at us. Why on earth would I want to sit here and be in the middle of that and let him, who I've said many times is a master at this with debating, and he's been in politics for 50 years. He will win any debate he does. I don't feel like I have to waste my time and subject myself to that. If anybody,
and half the time he wins because people just say, I'm done.
Yeah,
he didn't win on the facts.
Right.
Well,
he wins out of brutality.
Yeah, well, and that was another thing too, because I've been around someone who was just like that, and you will never win an argument. You will never win a debate. So already knowing and seeing the parallels, it's like, why would I subject myself to that? No. And sometimes people don't like being told no.
Yeah. And I think the worst part about it is we mainly agree on a lot of things. We just don't want our friends to be criminalized because they found a substance that worked for them. And we think that it should, or I should say, I think that it should be made so that they can get their therapeutic dosage from a clean vendor, from somebody who does it right. And if they're not out there doing it right, then they all should go. But I'm sure that there are a few out there that are and are fighting back. So, and I just refuse not to like somebody because someone tells me not to like them because they're doing something that they don't like, you know.
And I still agree with some of the things he says sometimes when in regards to those, you know, the names of these products and the extreme high amounts.
We've always
agree with him, but I just don't, it just turned into too much ugly. And so what I would have supported then and even now that he says, I mean, I'm pulled back from that. How can you support somebody that also comes after you? You know, how can you be thankful openly for somebody who is actively also coming after you, you know? So
and I refuse to accept responsibility and blame for actions that occurred before we ever started doing this, because so many of these issues have been in existence for years and nothing was done before.
Yeah.
So
we can never go back.
Don't lay your mistakes at our door because we didn't do them.
That's right.
And I'll repeat what I've said before. We can never go back and change yesterday, but we can always have today to change tomorrow. And instead, it's the same talking points and the same anger of what was already done. We could have been trying to change that. And it doesn't matter what industry it is. It took, you know, sometimes I hear now that Kratom was brought here from the Vietnam War. If it was, that has given 50 years to put regulation in place for even Kratom. Yep. So it could have taken a couple of years for the 7-0 side of it or whatever, do the right thing. I mean, it's only been a few years, you know, so it has taken a long time. I don't get, you know, I don't get it. If it's taken a long time for one person, entity, industry, you know, why the anger of another one? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is he has taken so much of the focus away from the advocacy.
Yeah.
What are you trying to misdirect us to?
I don't know. And it's a big division, which we do not need right now. We have enough going on with the news attacking us and everything. We don't need more people, especially in our community.
Yeah.
I do want to extend gratitude. I do want to extend gratitude to the Kratom industry that has self-regulated and made sure that everything was done properly to the best of their ability to have safe products out there. That is still important. I'll always believe that. So I appreciate all of them. But you know, it still took a long time. But the ones that come together and, well, not necessarily together, even on their own, to make that difference, that's super duper important. And I'm grateful for all of them.
Well, and every time there's a misdirect or an attack on those that are doing advocacy in a different way, do you really think the anti-Kratom people aren't keeping score? Aren't sitting back laughing and dancing in the aisles because, look at what they're fighting about. It's another in for them. So stop. I don't care how you feel about me personally. Publicly, stop.
Yep.
We must get along publicly if we're ever going to win this fight, because they are coming at Kratom too. Like it or not, acknowledge it or not, accept it or not, it's real. We've been fighting for over 10 years and we're still fighting the same exact fights. And there has to be at least an acceptance and an allowance for people to advocate in the way they choose.
And the anti-side doesn't have to cause friction between us. We're doing that within our own community. I mean, it's happening anyway. They're probably just sitting back and saying, let them take them.
Destroy each other. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we're not going to get into the videos and, you know, the real part of the show that we're all here for. But I do want to let y'all know, I've been starting to put up some shorter clips. I know like our Kratom Gals show is usually 2 or 3 hours long, and I'm trying to make time. I mean, y'all, I do this all in my free time. I mean, this it is what it is. And I love doing this. I love doing all this stuff for the community, and I appreciate those that help support all these efforts. So thank you to all of the Kratom community and industry side that are so supportive of the education and advocacy, because without that support, it would be near impossible to do so much stuff and have the ability. But what I'm trying to do is make some time each week to at least put up a kind of like a best of clip. And I love the one I just put up from last week, because anybody that missed last week, Kratom Gals, man, that was so good. We had a very passionate discussion about those of us in the pain community that suffer, and that, you know, people need to be heard and not get left behind. And so if you just can't sit and look, I totally understand, because it seems like the older I get, I just feel like my attention span's getting shorter and shorter. So I'm just like, for anybody that just can't sit through and watch a long replay, like here it is that I just posted. It's a 31-minute version of last week's, talking about how our stories matter. And it was so good and so heartfelt. But, you can always go over to our YouTube channel. I have one from several weeks ago when we had our special guest, Sky Hawthorne, on. So I always try to, get some of those clips over on our YouTube channel. So be sure to check it out. If you're not subscribing, just be sure to hit the subscribe button. Then you'll always know when we have a new video for you to check out. So
I was so psyched the other day. Sky followed me back.
Awesome. He was a great guest.
I was fangirling.
He was a great
I
guest
would have been
several
too.
weeks ago. I really enjoyed having him on, and really great job with being a journalist and all the stuff he's been uncovering. He has a great podcast too to check out. And thank you to everybody here in the live chat. I mean, y'all are always just so warm and awesome and caring and giving. So we appreciate it. So it's always good to see everybody here. And yes, that is Sarah from Mitrospec. It sure is. She's one of our regulars here. Walk with God. Thank you for joining us today. Great seeing everybody. So yeah, let's get into the news stories, because, oh my God, there's so many of them this week. Talking about Kratom, talking about 7-OH, and as usual, so many of them are filled with misinformation. They talk about 7-OH, but they're showing natural Kratom the entire time. I'm going to play that one.
Always do.
Now.
Always.
But after that one, I actually found one where what they showed on screen and what they were talking about was legit. It's like, oh, this doesn't happen every day. It's like that's a news station to commend. We don't get that very often. But let me start with this first one. So pay attention to what they're saying and what they're showing.
Good evening. Let's begin tonight with the products sold in gas stations and smoke shops now facing a federal crackdown.
The DEA is targeting a concentrated form of kratom known as 7-OH. 2822's Avery Nape shows why local police say they are ready to enforce it and why addiction specialists say the risks of using it can build fast.
Starting as early as August, buying, selling, or using partially synthetic kratom or 7-OH could come at a steep cost. For months, talks of the drug's dangers and potential for abuse have circulated city council and state house meetings alike. And now, with the federal government stepping in, some local law enforcement is already preparing for the ban.
From manufacturers to sellers to people that want to possess it, zero tolerance. It will be fully enforced.
Kratom comes from a plant in Southeast Asia. It's used as a mild stimulant and opiate. It can be found in gas stations and smoke shops nationwide. The new law would only target highly concentrated forms of kratom, which experts say is very different from the plant in its natural form.
What they're making it into is highly addictive. You build a tolerance to it so quickly. You need to use so much more just in a matter of weeks, and you're hooked.
The substance has led to overdoses and even deaths. And in Wyoming, a strong odor caused by a kratom plant that people living there dealt with for more than a year.
We've been dealing with some odor issues that we already went through the court process with. But this law is a step in the right direction.
In that way, the issue hits home for Turner. And he says while rescheduling the drug is a good start, he would like to see Kratom as a whole made illegal.
It's actually a huge relief because I know the potential that it could have out here in the community. I know the potential it could have to affect families. So it's a huge step, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
The DEA says the rescheduling will last at least 2 years to allow them to put a halt to growing health and safety concerns surrounding Kratom. We reached out to local shop owners who sell Kratom, but no one would speak on camera. Avery Nape, 2822.
Okay, so interesting, typical news story where
Of course, nobody's going to speak on camera, so you can demonize them.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, of course, nobody's going to speak on camera. They don't want to be demonized.
Right. That's what I thought when they said that.
The odor thing bothered me. What kind of odor? Like Kratom, I'm sorry, does not have an odor. It's a plant.
I've seen some news stories in the past year or so, and I don't remember where it was, so maybe it was in that community, but where there was an odor coming from a manufacturing facility, and it was something related to a Kratom company. So maybe it was some solvents, maybe they were making extracts, and it was the solvents. I just remember there were some stories last year, or maybe earlier this year. A couple of times I remember. I know we played one here before, but it was, all I remember was some kind of odor. Neighbors were complaining, and it was some kind of Kratom manufacturer.
Okay, that's weird because we also package our own in our own facility, and there has never been there isn't an odor, so I just find that odd.
Yeah, and if
y'all don't do extracts.
Odor at all,
yeah,
it would only smell like nature anyway. It wouldn't,
right?
You know, there might be a scent, but it's not an odor.
No, I think it has to be something that's synthetic or semi-synthetic.
Yeah,
maybe it was some Kratom manufacturer on the outside, and maybe they were synthesizing stuff and making things they shouldn't have been.
Or maybe somebody saw something on the news and then they just thought they smelled something and ran with it. I mean, they can't even believe anybody anymore, really.
Yeah.
I can smell that over there. And it's nothing to smell. You know? Or they think it smells like cannabis because cannabis does.
Yeah, that's what I was, That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And then they see it's a green powder, or so they think it's got a similar scent, and it doesn't. So, you know, agreed.
We can't
the most odor you're going to get is smelling like you're next to a hayfield.
Right.
That's what I mean. Just nature, the smell of nature.
Smell like dirt.
Yeah.
Exactly. We can't discuss, like, you know, I know somebody's asking about 70H and how much to take and stuff. Number one, we can't talk. We're not medical professionals, so we can't talk about Kratom or 70H, what to take and how much, and we're not going to regardless. But I always tell people when it comes to anything you're going to put in your body, do your research.
And low. That's all I'm going to say is don't jump
low
into
and slow.
anything. Low.
And I think Nibbles kind of puts it into perspective too. That's perfect.
Yeah, when you started saying that last year, Twinkle, that's such a great visual. And it's like, I know, even though I don't use 70H, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
When you're talking about how I just do a little nibble, so I'm just not suffering so much in pain.
Yeah.
And it's such a contrast to somebody who is using 70H and are addicted to it. They're not taking a nibble. Go ask anybody who says they're addicted or were addicted to 70H. They're going to tell you they took the whole tablet or a bunch of tablets. Remember there was that news story recently, and that lady, she was saying something about how she thought it was some health thing. And she goes, well, I didn't read the package. I didn't know I was only supposed to like take a quarter of it. And she goes, I took the whole tablet. Some older lady too. I took the whole tablet. I'm like,
exactly.
Be a grown adult and like
and read what you're taking.
If you're not going to read the package, then, you know, take responsibility for your actions.
Exactly.
Exactly. Like 12, when you're getting the 1200 milligram ones we heard was just crazy to me. And that somebody could even consume that much. So yes, definitely low.
And with something like that, a nibble would still be 10, 20, 30 mil. I mean, think about it. If it's a high tablet like that, even if somebody was trying to take a minute amount, it's still a very large amount. So that would be, you have to be careful.
Yeah,
That shouldn't
exactly.
be on. Yeah, shouldn't even be on.
It's even like with plain leaf kratom. You start small.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can always add a tiny bit more. You can't take away if you take too much.
Yeah. And look, the thing is with and maybe this is one of the reasons why Mac doesn't like our live stream. I'm just guessing here because he hasn't really said exactly that it would be this. But maybe he thinks people come here and they're curious and then go and use 7-OH because they're getting information here. We're not talking about 7-OH in a way where if anybody's curious, that's on them because they're trying to learn about it. But we're not here. Well, here's the thing. We're here to educate. Actually, this actually goes back for years now. I've been educating people on what the difference is between natural kratom extracts and 7-OH. And when we first started the Kratom Gals live stream, what we're doing right now, when we started this 2.5 years ago, we talked about this a lot, and I was constantly putting out videos on YouTube and TikTok about the difference between natural kratom and extracts. Because just like what we hear today with 7-OH, people were confused. They thought extracts and kratom, they thought that all this stuff was the same. And it's like, no, it's not the same. As a matter of fact, let me show y'all real quick. This video popped up in my TikTok memories this week. It's a video clip from the Kratom Gals a year ago. And as always, we spend a ton of time here educating people the difference between natural kratom extracts and 7-OH. It's a short clip. Let me play this real quick. What's so frustrating is that when people hear the word kratom, they think it's all the same. And it's like, there's whole leaf powder, there's extracts, now there's 7-O. Go ahead, Amanda.
We also have to be mindful that when we do research things, so like let's say the senator, whoever researched for him, a lot of the stuff is SEO. So a lot of it is clickbaity. There's keywords and stuff that people are searching. People are looking for extracts. At the time, probably the extracts were hot and popping and those keywords were popping up. So
yeah,
I can understand that there's misinformation in there that led them to there because then that SEO leads them to that purchase. But like for now, if you look up 7-O, it's going to be a very hot topic and everything's going to pop up for 7-O and all this misinformation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and people get confused because people think natural kratom is 7-OH and especially when they're trying to just look it up on the internet, and there's a lot of confusing misinformation on there as well. So that's why what you do in school and everything else by educating people the difference between the extracts and the 7-OH and the natural plant kratom, the powder, that they need that information.
And it doesn't help that so many of these news stories are showing kratom products when they're talking about 7-OH.
Yeah.
And if anything, they're getting curious from all these news stories.
Right, that's where the curiosity is. The curiosity is from that.
Yeah.
At least we're trying to add the education and letting them know,
yes,
be careful and all this. The news isn't telling anybody anything like that. They're just showing it so that people can run out and get it.
Exactly.
I can't even imagine the curiosity from the media in the last few years that has caused people to go buy it because they go around calling it gas station heroin. I wonder how many people around the U.S. go, I could go to the gas station and buy something they're calling gas station heroin and it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's probably hundreds of thousands of people that have gone out and done it because of the media. Yet we get berated constantly as if we're the ones doing it by the AKA. Makes no sense. It doesn't.
And like you've said that you only use natural kratom powder, me as well, and a lot of us do. And we just don't think that people should have to be criminalized for something that they choose. But we don't use it and we, tell people about it and everything else. So I don't see how that also seems to be an issue with some people when we talk about things like that. But
it's weird when people are against prohibition, but then they're really for prohibition because this would be an example of it. So you're against it and you don't believe in it, but then, you want something banned. And I don't know, but, it's just weird. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm going to play y'all a news story where they actually got the facts done right. It was a news story about kratom out of Hawaii. So let me play because it's such a contrast of the other one we watched where it's like, wait a minute, they're talking about 7-OH, obviously, but they're showing natural kratom the entire time. So watch this and let me know what you think.
A new federal crackdown could turn some over-the-counter products into illegal drugs. Celine Kawano reports on the DEA targeting so-called gas station heroin, which right now anyone can buy in Hawaii.
The change would make the sale of the over-the-counter products a federal crime. The Drug Enforcement Administration is moving to ban 7-OH and related synthetic compounds MGM-15 and 16. They're sold as gummies and drinks and pills, often packaged to appeal to younger people.
They're saying that this drug has no medicinal value and it should be prohibited point blank across the board.
The DEA's notice of intent filed this month would make these substances Schedule I drugs in the same federal category as heroin and LSD.
It's very serious with addiction because it is an opioid-like substance that sits on the opioid receptor in the brain, and quickly people become very addicted.
EMS has had calls as far as people calling for overdoses from 7-OH, so we're seeing it as well. Definitely not as much as heroin or some of the other things that we're responding to, but prior to maybe this year or last year, there were zero. And so just even having a few has caught our attention.
If it becomes illegal, we have to act on it, in terms of making sure that they're not selling it in the open at the smoke shops and at the convenience stores and things like that. We have to enforce the law, and we will enforce the law.
The move does not affect kratom, a Southeast Asian plant sometimes used in tea for pain relief or as a stimulant. Experts say 7-OH and the MGM drugs are synthetic relatives, much more potent and addictive.
MGM 15 and 16, you're talking about a drug that is 240 times stronger than morphine. So you're talking about something that's in the fentanyl category. So this is a highly addictive drug and a highly dangerous drug. People are dying.
Narcan can reverse an overdose, and doctors say there is effective treatment for people hooked on these products.
Buprenorphine is the product that we can use that's been effective at helping people get off these substances very safely.
Of course.
And so it's really important to find a provider that's experienced with using buprenorphine.
The DEA's temporary ban could take effect as soon as next month.
Okay, so they got a few things wrong. Of course. They always have to, let's get everybody on that. But overall, I was impressed at how they were showing 7-OH products while they were talking about it, because we rarely see that in news reports.
Yeah. Right.
And some of the info they had it was well done. But yeah, 240 times. Okay, where did that guy get that at the end?
Something I keyed on from the chief of police in Honolulu. We'll have to make sure they're not selling it openly. Excuse me? You mean not selling it, period?
Right, and Extreme makes a good
Exactly.
point. If you were taking that much, you probably would be deceased or be very, very sick if it was 240 times stronger than morphine. Maybe 240 times stronger, well, I doubt it. But then Kratom, 7-OH, I would believe, is 13 times stronger than that. I just had a brain fart. 13 times stronger than regular tea would be for 7, but not 13 times stronger than morphine, because we'd all be on our butts with that too if that was the case.
Right.
So
yeah.
I don't know
240 times.
I don't know where that one. I have never heard that one before. 240 times.
And I have said it so many times. If Kratom got me high, I would not take it.
Same.
Plain and simple fact.
Me
I
either.
do not like the feeling of being high. I don't smoke weed. I don't
Same.
drink
Me too.
alcohol
Same.
because
Yep.
I don't like that feeling. So why would I willingly consume something that is going to get me high? No.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I use Kratom, because it doesn't get me high.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I did have to go to the streets back in the day, I would look for something that I could be as lucid as possible, that would last me as long as possible and help me as much as possible. I wasn't looking for, the quickest hot thing to get me high. I was looking for something that would sustain me for as long as possible.
But always at the end of these news stories, though, they have to show the medication they can put people on that will make them all better.
Right.
But, that's a little, for the pharmaceutical companies, it's their little jingle, to get more people taking meds.
As Claudia says, subs are the, don't even get me started on Suboxone. It should be illegal.
It costs
Well,
us.
all you'd have to do is wean yourself down and not go cold turkey, and then merge into, for some people, maybe extracts. Not for me.
But a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen it myself. I've never taken it, but we've had people in the Kratom community. I remember several years ago, Venus, you and I there was a group of people in our school community that were, starting Kratom and sharing their journey with us. And one gal in particular, we get on some Zoom calls from time to time, and she was trying desperately to get off of Suboxone, and she kept tapering down as far as she could. She was there to educate herself on Kratom. We did this for months. We got to the point where it was probably like a year. She could not get herself weaned off of Suboxone. We felt for her, and she was in a well and struggled to do that. It was not an addiction thing either. My understanding, I think that she was Venus, wasn't she a chronic pain person? Pretty sure she was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was. And she was just taking it for pain, and they put her on an obscene amount. I think it was like 3 strips.
And that's the thing with the Suboxone, is a lot of people, you can't get off of it. You just can't get off of it. You get very ill.
But they're prescribing it to chronic pain people now. They won't.
I took it for that's what I was taking it for. I was prescribed from the pain clinic specifically for chronic pain, and at least I'm lucky that my meds, my prescription said prescribed for chronic pain and not anything else. Because even then, some people automatically, if you're in a hospital or something and they knew you took, their mind goes straight to addiction, and you're not taking it for addiction. You're taking it for chronic pain. So, and that was even a long time ago. So.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I got another news story for y'all. This one's out of Wisconsin.
It's being known as gas station heroin, readily available at convenience stores and smoke shops, and it's got the federal government cracking down. But what exactly is Kratom, and are all Kratom products dangerous? I spoke with health experts to find out. Kratom is a tree in Southeast Asia whose leaves can produce a variety of effects, from mild stimulant to pain reliever. But the FDA hasn't approved it for medical use because of how it works.
This is an opioid.
Dr. Ryan Feldman at the Wisconsin Poison Center has worked with people who've overcome Kratom dependence.
Many of them were using it as what they thought was a healthy, natural alternative to just boost their energy.
But a compound within natural kratom called 7-hydroxymetragenine, or 7-OH, affects the brain the same as opioids like morphine and fentanyl.
At least one study, it was about 13 times more potent than morphine.
And that can lead to addiction. Data from the National Poison Control Center says reports related to kratom more than doubled in 2025.
There are people waiting for the stores to open because they'll buy a day's worth, say this is the last day, and then they're there 6 a.m. the next day.
Not all kratom products are created equal. Kratom leaf products have just trace amounts of 7-OH, but some newer products are concentrated 7-OH in a tablet marketed as kratom.
There's no required labeling that requires these to be marked as an opioid or as an addictive substance.
That makes it harder for people to know just what they're buying. Dr. Chris McCurdy is the leading expert on kratom research at the University of Florida. He says even if products have a label, there's still a problem.
Most people don't use it the way that's written on the label anyway. Each tablet is 4 servings or 6 servings, where you're supposed to split this tablet into multiple pieces.
Wisconsin is one of 8 states that have banned kratom. Starting August 1st, Minnesota requires anyone buying it to be at least 21. This month, the DEA has temporarily labeled 7-OH a Schedule 1 drug. Any products with more than 1 milligram of 7-OH would be illegal to sell. McCurdy says while well-intentioned, that move could make research efforts harder and potentially move 7-OH products into a black market.
What we've seen in Florida is essentially a changing of labels on products. So they've taken anything that says it's 7-hydroxymetragenine and they slap on something else that says kratom extract.
Every expert we spoke to recommended people avoid kratom products.
It needs to be regulated in terms of communicating the risk that you are entering into when you start taking this.
And for anyone struggling with kratom dependence, Latham says you're not alone.
We shouldn't be making folks feel bad for what's going on, but absolutely access help.
America's Poison Centers are available 24/7, and Amplify does offer local addiction clinics. We'll have that information on our website.
So there you have that one.
Well, the 4 score isn't a real talking point for me because you have to do the same thing with the extracts. You're not supposed to drink the whole bottle.
Right.
And you have to manage yourself with your little tiny itty bitty sips on that little extract that 2, 3, 4 doses, servings anyway. So it's the same thing to me. You still got to manage yourself and take what is directed, not the whole thing. Same thing with.
And a lot of people just don't take what's directed. They don't read. They just see a tablet. They're like, and that also is on the person making those tablets too. If those, people aren't going to follow that. You should be at least separating them, having smaller, just 1 tablet per dose or something. I think that's really unsafe the way that they make it and sell it. I think it's on them.
I agree.
To me, it all boils back to personal responsibility and accountability. Because you know what? Those same people that are overtaking 7-OH are overtaking extracts, they're overtaking kratom. And when they have prescriptions, they overtake them too.
Absolutely.
So quit making all of us as consumers, safe, responsible consumers, suffer the consequences for those people choosing to misuse a product. It's just like what pain patients have gone through during the opioid epidemic.
And it'll be something else.
Having their pain medication removed because of abusers. Stop. Start holding people accountable.
Right. And there are plenty other resources out there for people that are in addiction. And we shouldn't have to use those same resources. And like I was sent to rehab for 10 days, and getting that label because we're in pain. And if it works for some people for pain, that is great, because like 1 milligram helped me a long time ago, and it also took my teeth. But just don't take away. It's like every single thing we get that helps us eventually down the line gets taken away because somebody else is abusing it. And there's got to be a time that it stops.
Yep. Correct.
Yep, there's a stigma attached to it. And then they think that everyone that takes kratom has addiction issues, which isn't the case. There's millions of people that take it for different reasons and take it just as part of their routine, so they're not in pain. And that when that comes into that category, it gets kind of all lumped in together.
And some people even take it for just let's say somebody's healthy, they take it for a well-being booster, like just have a little energy, or to assist a workout, or to get through their work day, just like the original consumers did in Indonesia and all that. They used it to help them get through their work days and be able to, endure working in fields and all that. So,
and that brings back to kratom has been safely consumed in Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Southeast Asia for thousands of years. So why is it suddenly, because it crossed an ocean and landed on our shores, it's now an issue?
Right.
What happened? Okay, did the ocean poison it? No, it's the people. So start showing that and being realistic about where the issues are coming from. It's not the plant bringing these issues. It's not the substance bringing these issues. It's the people. So make them accountable, hold them responsible, and allow the rest of us to consume what we choose to consume safely without impacting anyone else.
This is why common sense regulations would work, because if this was more regulated, which we're all for here, then there'd have to be an age limit. There'd have to be certain parameters that has to be on the packaging. Some states do that. I know, Sarah, you could definitely talk about that because you're on the industry side. But there's states that have a KCPA, so you've got very strict.
We have a KCPA in Florida actually, and they're very strict and it's very safe, which I like about being here personally. But yes, they have very strict rules. And New York also has different rules for their labels and things like that. It depends from state to state. So,
well, and even with those restrictions, there are still going to be people misusing it.
Yes.
Hold those people accountable, not the vendors, not the distributors, not the consumers. Hold the people screwing with the product,
Yeah.
overusing, abusing, hold them accountable, leave us alone.
But why criminalize? Why criminalize people? Criminalize the industry. Why is it that things have to be put in a Schedule 1 and criminalize people?
Right.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Prohibition has never, ever worked.
Right.
No, and you're criminalizing people in your state that are giving to your community, that are working in your community, paying their taxes, and then you're treating them like that's really unfair. You know, that really bothers me.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. All right, I got another news story. There were a lot of news stories this week. There were lots of them happening. So let me play another one for y'all. Well, you know, a big reason why I play these, and I always like to kind of start the show with these, is that I'm trying to make sure everybody in the community knows this is how the media across the U.S. portrays Kratom and how they talk about it. And you can see in most of these news stories, they portray it inaccurately. They put out a lot of misinformation. They don't fact check. They throw in a lot of propaganda. That previous one starts off, gas station heroin. It's like, I'm so sick of that talking point that somebody started years ago, and it just keeps being used over and over.
Gas station heroin was originally for the tianeptine and phenibut mixture that was basically gas station heroin. Stop calling Kratom gas station heroin. Stop calling extracts gas station heroin. Stop calling 7-0 gas station heroin. That's not what any of those are.
Yeah.
But it's got a great ring to it. It's a great hook.
Well, and that's why that has not gone away, calling it that, because if it wasn't a popular thing to put out in the media, they would have stopped using it. But I guarantee you, the data shows these media newsrooms are looking at data to see what are the keywords, what are the things to put, what's the most clickbaity thing, and that it's just this perpetual. It's been nonstop since we started the Kratom Gals several years ago. They've used it for tianeptine, for natural kratom, for 7-OH. They call everything gas station heroin, and it just keeps going on and on. They're never going to stop. That name has been attached. And this goes back to the lobbyists, the AKA. Why is so much time spent on bothering us and berating us when we're just having open, honest discussion with everyday Kratom consumers? Why aren't they doing something about that? Why aren't they working on getting the media to stop all this misinformation? This misinformation campaign has gone on for years, and I'm so tired of it. It gives us something to talk about here, but I would rather us, when we actually first started the Kratom Gals, there wasn't as much of it. There was news stories every week, but not this many.
Not like that. Right. It's out of control now, basically, and it seems they're all competing against each other to have the more exciting, like, Kratom news story or whatever. They seem to be blowing it up more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't put the pain patient's perspective out there.
No.
It's always bad things.
Yeah.
We used to watch more lighthearted stuff. There was always plenty of time. I know Venus remembers. We always had plenty of time. We watched videos of in Indonesia, the farmers in the fields cultivating kratom, and that's how they do it. Like we loved it. Like all this cool stuff. And instead, there's just so much of this media attention on the plant, but I want to make sure people in our community know this is how kratom is being talked about. You need to be aware. You need to be educated that this is what's happening day in and day out.
And if you're seeing those stories in your local areas, guess what, folks? You need to get busy because it means your legislators are seeing them as well.
Right.
Yep. I always say that too. Talk to your friend, your neighbor, someone that you talk to and see all the time that knows you, and be like, hey, did you know this? So that they know, hearing it from you, a real person, that news story isn't really accurate.
Right. Because we are the best good news about the plant.
Exactly.
And if we're doing that kind of advocacy with our neighbors, with our mailman, with the clerk at the grocery store, that word spreads quickly. And it can engulf an entire community with good, positive information instead of the negative. So that when they see those news stories, they know that's bull. They're lying.
Exactly.
You know, I know people that consume Kratom, and that's not what it's all about. Now, did the manufacturers of several products bear a huge responsibility in part of this negative media? You betcha. Look at some of the names that have been used through the years. Look at where it's sold. Look at how there has been a lack of accountability. Those things all take place and are part of the challenges we're fighting. But that, again, comes to the consumer to start standing up and saying, I'm not buying from someone who names their product dopium. I'm not buying a product that isn't tested, that isn't age-gated. So if we as consumers hold our vendors responsible, they do the right thing.
And the number of times we've come on this live stream and have said, we do not support these products on the market that are calling themselves dopium, perks, all these crazy drug names, and keep escalating the dosage because they're going after one single market, getting them addicted to them, and making everything look bad to everyone to the point they want to ban all forms of Kratom, not just 7-OH, but going after Kratom as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, this needs to stop. It's like, they're not the same thing. And these companies should be held responsible for calling products these terrible names. Why that dopium, I remember when that one came out on the market, it's been on the market for years. Why has not that been stopped? Why has the 7-OH industry done something about stopping that particular company? Why have state regulators or whoever in government that certainly there's somebody in government that decides what gets to be on a shelf and what's not. So why is there no responsibility on the government side and on the industry side? It makes no sense.
Exactly. And all those type of name products are all in gas stations, and every news story, what do they talk about at gas stations? So if that's the issue, why don't you start working there with the problem with those products that are sold in those gas stations?
Yep.
You know, that's a good start.
Exactly.
Very good start.
Yeah, it needs to get out of gas stations.
I for the most part don't even have an issue with it being sold in a smoke shop, because a smoke shop is at least age gated. You have to be 21 to even walk in the door.
Yeah.
So at least there's the start of responsible consuming and responsible sales. But gas stations, no. But I'm one of those weird ones. I don't think much of anything should be sold in a gas station except gas.
Right.
I don't agree with alcohol being sold in a gas station because I'm there to get gas to drive my vehicle. I don't need to buy things that are going to impact my ability to drive. But yeah,
it's always about money. It's about money. It's about
exactly.
money.
And not only do they sell it in the gas station, they put it right there at the checkout, so it's an automatic impulse buy.
Yeah, buy
design. Hey, this is something new. I'll buy it and try it. They never even look at the label.
Right.
They never even read the directions or the instructions. They don't know what they're doing, just other than, oh, it'll help me stay awake.
And this is a big reason why we had such a passionate discussion last week about the chronic pain community, because things like this happen. And what happens every single time? Those of us that suffer in chronic pain day in and day out, it always gets turned back on us. And we lose access to things that help us because of addiction, because of lack of accountability, because of the industry not doing the right thing and the government letting them.
Well, and look at where the money is. That tells you where the support and financial wherewithal is. The biggest money is in the rehab industry. So, of course, the addictions issues are going to be first to be
It's
dealt
big money.
with.
It's big money.
It's huge money. It's far bigger money even than pharma. So let's stop feeding into those and start holding people accountable. I know that's that word that nobody wants to respond to. Oh, help. Accountable? No, we can't do that.
We can't act like adults.
No. Shame on them for even suggesting it.
And going back to the news articles, if you see those news articles in your newspaper in your area, that's who they want to hear from. They want to hear from the people that are in those areas that those news articles are coming out at. And so definitely try and get in touch with them. And they do reach out once in a while, so it's definitely worth it. And always, I like to contact my local cable news stations too and send them emails. I haven't gotten a response back from them yet, but just to see if maybe, you know, they talk to me too. So it's definitely worth trying.
Exactly. All right, let's get into the next video that I have for y'all. Another news story.
Tennessee's Kratom ban takes effect today, and across the state line, North Carolina is debating its future.
While Kratom remains legal here, addiction specialists are sounding the alarm about a stronger product called 7-0.
Investigative reporter Elijah Skipper exposes the growing concern and the push for change.
You can buy a soda here, a bag of chips, alcohol if you're 21. And depending on the gas station, you have 7-H, a substance addiction doctors say is sending people into opioid-like withdrawal.
So you can buy this at any age. You don't have to be 18. You don't have to be 21. You don't need an ID. You buy alcohol, you buy cigarettes. There's warnings. There's the Surgeon General. There's no warnings with any of this.
It's called 7-H, and if you've never heard of it before, neither had many of the people now seeking treatment.
There's a perception that it's a safe, natural product, and that particularly for people that are looking at an alternative to opioids, they will look at it and say, this is safer than heroin or fentanyl, but that's a pretty low bar to get over.
People trying something they believe was harmless, only to later find themselves dependent on it.
The marketing for all the packaging, it's super colorful. It always will have like playful names to it. And sometimes it can be really hard to even identify what the active ingredient is.
But as we kept investigating, we found a growing divide because 7-H is actually derived from kratom. Traditional kratom comes from a plant out of Southeast Asia. 7-H is that product now isolated, concentrated, and sold on its own. While doctors are sounding the alarm about 7-H, many kratom users say that's not the product they're using.
Because when Tom Mueller hears people talking about kratom, he hears people talking about something that changed his life.
Not pain-free because it comes back. It's not curing anything. It's just giving me the ability to deal with it.
At 73 years old, Thomas spent decades living with scoliosis and chronic back pain. About a year ago, he and his wife stopped into a kava bar. They saw kratom on the menu.
I said, I'll give it a try. So I drank a glass of kratom. I didn't think too much about it. And as we're leaving about an hour later, I said to my wife, I said, I don't have any pain in my back. This is amazing.
Today, he says it helps him manage pain, stay active, and even play golf again.
Am I sore at the end of this round? Yeah, but at least I can play. I couldn't even swing a club for a while. So it's been a major help for my pain.
Steve Gilg owns Mountain Vibes Kava Bar in Waynesville. He's also in recovery himself. He sells traditional kratom tea. He does not sell 7-H.
It just gives people time to work on themselves. It's not, 100% foolproof. People still go back. But I guarantee a lot of them their lives were saved from it.
But Gilg isn't defending everything being sold under the kratom umbrella. He supports restrictions on 7-H, a product he says is very different from the tea he serves.
They're basically oxycodone from what I hear, or stronger. And that's something that shouldn't be on the shelves.
The debate is playing out state by state. 8 states have banned kratom or its active compounds. North Carolina has it. A bill to ban kratom failed last year. Now lawmakers are taking a different approach, a proposal that would limit sales to those 21 and older, license retailers, and crack down on synthetic products like 7-OH.
The kava bar industry is worried that 7-OH is going to kill the kratom industry.
And that's where the seller and the doctors are not far apart.
So kratom and 7-OH are really two different products.
And that's why even the people sounding the alarm say North Carolina has to be careful about where it draws the line.
I hope that we don't have a whiplash response to this where we just make something illegal without thinking about the consequences of what that looks like. Because if there are lots of people, what happens to all those patients who are dependent on this substance if they suddenly can't have it?
In Western North Carolina, Elijah Skipper, News 13.
The North Carolina proposal to regulate kratom products has not become law. It was last sent to the House Rules Committee.
Doctors say people who believe they are dependent on 7-OH should talk with a medical provider before trying to stop on their own.
Okay, that was a interesting.
That was actually pretty balanced.
It was pretty
Not
good.
terrible.
And they showed
Yeah.
that older guy that from the kava bar. I like when they do something more balanced. Let's show both sides. And
Right.
so rarely do we see a positive side. Is they had the addiction specialist towards the end there. Like they always have to have somebody from the addiction center in stories like this, and rarely somebody who has benefited from kratom. And I love just seeing those balanced stories. We need more of those.
I think if they
And not
have
all
a
doctors
rehab
are-
specialist, go ahead.
Not
Go
all
ahead.
doctors are going to care that you're you're withdrawing.
Yeah.
They didn't care about me when I was cold turkey off of everything, including the antidepressants and the anti-seizures and all of that. You might be able to get a doctor that does have the compassion for you to start you on treatment, which is going to be Suboxone, but not all of them are going to care, have the time to care, not anything. So
No, they don't even care when you tell them, like you go to the pharmacy and the pharmacy doesn't have your prescription that you're supposed to be getting at that time, or if you need a follow-up because you have a problem. They don't care about that most of the time. So,
Well, and I think every time they have a rehab specialist, they should have a pain patient advocate specialist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
definitely.
I would love to see that.
And we need to start pushing for that. If you guys are going to do a story, do it balanced and make sure that both sides of the aisle are represented, because it's not just about the addict. It's about pain patients. It's about people with severe ADHD that regular meds don't work on. It's about people that just need that little boost to help them get through their day.
And if we
Kratom
can
is
get
about so many
medication
other
management,
things.
if we were able to get medication management from our doctors, we wouldn't be using these options, either one of them already. A great majority of people who have been abandoned or didn't have adequate care from their doctors or were removed from their medications were taking kratom. They had nothing else but kratom. And then, some people, as other things came out, of course, use that too. But it's not like all the doctors are going to have time to care about that or are going to prescribe. People with ADHD that have no pain issues, they have trouble with their medications too. Just went through the last couple years of also doing the quotas that we often do, the drug shortage quotas for the chronic pain side of it was also for ADHD side of it. And we're having to get our comments in for that too, to stop the shortages for them, because my son was affected by that for 2 years. And that wasn't even a pain medication. That was his ADHD medication. If not everybody could go just get it.
right. And the other thing, it goes back to even like when we go to the ER, there's no pain specialist advocate for us in there. Who do they send up? They send up the addiction specialists, from what I've seen, to people. And I mean, and I asked them, I said, why are you sending up, when I went with somebody else, why are you sending up an addiction specialist? Why don't you have somebody to come up with that specializes in pain? And they don't ever have an answer for that. So
that's right.
It's protocol.
Yeah. Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
Well, a lot of comments. Comments are live chat's on fire today. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us and speaking your mind. It's all
Don't
good. We
forget
love
our
it.
word. We need to pick some words too.
Yeah, we'll do that at the end. Just
Yeah.
remind me at the end.
Okay.
I love that we do that. Next up, okay, we're done with news stories. I think y'all agree. An hour and a half in, I think we've watched plenty. We've had our fill of news stories, and that's just scratching the surface. Just I go and check week by week. Well, actually every day to see like what news stories related to Kratom. I'm not even specifically looking for 708. I'm looking for I go to YouTube, one keyword, Kratom. That's how I find the bulk of this stuff that I post.
I did want to mention though on the AKA's email that just went out. It was, I believe it was last night. It said something about, people who use 7.0 are chasing down the people who are tea only. And I have never done anything like that. I put one post up about, I don't even know if they were referring to me. I'm just saying, since I've been thrown into the category of a 7.0H person, I did put a post up about prohibition, but that was it. And I would not chase anybody down to sign a petition that was tea only, because a tea only person isn't going to change their mind. I would never put the time out when I've got so much stuff to do at home to even bother with such a thing. And so
they're trolling the Federal Register comments to see who in the Kratom community is commenting on it.
And then
that's what that is.
Another point was made, something about a form letter, but AKA has the form letters on their site too for the advocacy. They're already pre-made letters, so I don't know what that's about. I do understand everybody's frustrations, but you can't, blame people for doing.
But he said there's no Federal Register with public comment. There is.
Mm-hmm.
You can go on the Federal Register and comment about banning, because they're planning to ban 7.0H at the end of the month, and there is, just like with natural Kratom 10 years ago, people can go and comment right now.
But they're trying to say that, that wasn't for putting your story in. But the thing is a lot of them aren't for including the story. And a lot of people do that anyway. So it's not just 7.0H utilizers who are doing these things. It happens all the time. It's not just one type of person is doing that. So on the comment. So,
And we respect everybody's opinion. Whatever it is that you support, that's fine. We just don't want to put down people that don't support, we don't want to not support people just because they found extra help. That's it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's it.
Yeah. And Adam has a great website. The letter iKratom is iKratom.com, right? .com or .org. Great site he's put together. So for anybody that wants to advocate for Kratom, definitely recommend going there.
And don't forget Kratom Index. Yes, ma'am. Kratom Index.
KratomIndex.com. Sarah and Dan have put together an amazing website. I just love that y'all put that together. It is so incredibly. Anybody here that's not been, go to KratomIndex.com, jot it down, check it. It's all the published Kratom research. And for anybody that goes around saying, there hasn't been much research on Kratom.
There's a lot.
There's so much research in the last 10 years. Go to that website and you can look it all up.
And we constantly will pop up and there'll be a new one that always like weekly pretty much. And it's always on there. It's free. We don't charge for it. We do it out of our free time, which isn't much, but yeah, so it's all in one place.
Yeah.
We appreciate you too.
Thank y'all for doing that. It's a great resource. And
it's perfect for the emails to your legislators.
Yep.
Exactly. And while you're at it, if you have not hit that like and subscribe button here on YouTube, do that. So that way you don't ever, hitting the like button helps, YouTube know that people like our content. So be sure to hit the like button. And then if you're not a subscriber, when you subscribe, you will always know when we have new videos out. We do the live stream. I've been putting up shorter clips of the live stream as just a regular video. I'm always posting shorts over on our YouTube channel, and always lots and lots of information. So be sure to hit that like. Oh, I realized I had it on a 10. I was like, where did it go? Okay. StreamYard has a new thing. I have it set so in 10 seconds, watch, it's going to go away. I don't even have to press it. Whoop. Okay. I didn't catch that it had turned off. All right. Our next video is from friend of the Kratom Gals, my friend Abram at Pure Infinity Botanicals. He puts out so much content over on his YouTube channel. He is in the Kratom industry, and I just love seeing people on the industry side putting out educational information. Sarah, you and Dan do that all the time. Love it. And Christopher Organic Botanicals. And I just love seeing companies. Happy Hippo does it quite regularly. I will only align myself with companies that educate and advocate for our natural kratom. But Abram, as always, has a new video out. And this one's really good. So let me play it for y'all.
So big news has happened federally regarding Kratom and 7-OH. And what does this mean for you, especially if you're in one of the states that has already banned Kratom entirely? But the question that I think remains is, why did these states entirely ban Kratom? If you're in Kentucky, Tennessee, Kansas, or Ohio, exclusion on Ohio because powder is still legal. I think what is important for you to realize is that state by state, there's no such thing as extradition. Tennessee was never allowed to sell 7-hydroxy, but they had an enforcement issue, meaning they would have to go shop to shop to try and enforce the products that are being sold on the shelf. And they knew that there was no budget for that. There was no ability to make an impact on that level. The majority of 7-hydroxy products were not being produced in Tennessee. So if you're in South Carolina pressing tablets, selling them into Tennessee, Tennessee can't do anything about it. They can write you nasty letters. They can send you pissed off emails, but they can't come and visit you. You're not going to be able to be prosecuted. However, with the federal law change that we're going to see in the next 30 days, it means that the DEA or other federal agencies have the ability to raid any facility in any part of the United States, and that changes everything. These states have completely eliminated commerce of Kratom in general as a response to not being able to enforce any laws within their state. And it kind of makes sense. Unless these state police department is going to hire another 10,000 officers, unless they're going to give a budget to the Department of Agriculture to go shop to shop, they really have no means of enforcing anything at the store level. And thereby they cannot stop the sale of a product. But if they make everything illegal, it's a much broader brush to paint with. So the most important thing, if you're in Tennessee, Ohio, Kentucky, or Kansas, is to start making some noise to get raw kratom powder, capsules, or even basic extracts back on the table. And I think now is the best time to do it because Papa federal government basically just said, we're cool with natural leaf kratom. We're cool with extracts as long as it represents what's found in the plant. We're not cool with elevated levels of the synthetic derivatives of kratom. Now is the time to make your voice heard, pick up the phone, call the Ohio Board of Pharmacy, call your state representative if you're in Kansas or Tennessee, and get them to reverse their ruling on kratom. If we don't make noise, we can't expect anything to change. And I think it would be a true tragedy for anybody to get in trouble for possession of kratom powder or capsules or basic kratom extracts. In 30 days, the entire landscape of kratom is going to change. And I hate to say that just because 7-OH is going away, but let's be real. There's a lot more money being spent on synthetic derivatives of kratom than actual kratom at this point. It's 5x the total revenue of the entire industry in a 1.5 to 2 year time frame. So losing it on a federal level means that there is federal recourse for bad actors that wasn't there before. That means that the states that have an enforcement problem should feel much more comfortable with the commerce of basic kratom products. And if you guys don't pick up the phone, and if we don't make noise as a collective industry and consumer base, they'll be none the wiser, and these terrible laws will be able to move ahead. So I urge you, take action. Get involved, sign up for the AKA, sign up for the GKC. These people are spokespeople for the industry. Money makes the world go round for them, but nonetheless, they're there to protect the products that you love, that I love, and in this particular case, they protect the industry that I work in and feel so passionately about. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for tuning in. Drop a comment below if you got something to say. Otherwise, like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm and it helps us go further.
I love his videos. Yeah, he's so informative with the info, and I love it. I think that was some great information for us.
And so calm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He presents well. Yeah.
He does. He does. And he's been putting out videos on YouTube for quite a while. He's gotten in trouble. YouTube can be pretty strict. For anybody that follows Coach Hardgains, boy, he's going through it right now. YouTube is deleting his videos right now. He had a video up last night. He posted last night. I saw this video he made, and he was showing screenshots of the video that from YouTube. And I'm like, oh, that's happened to me before. So I commented and I said, you can't talk about brands or mention them. And I know he mentions a brand in a lot of his videos. And so, this whole YouTube with anything with regulated goods, they consider it drugs. And, I got in trouble a couple of times last year where they wouldn't let us live stream for a few weeks. We were having to do this live stream on Venus's YouTube. And it was so funny. It's like, we're going to live stream one way or the other. And the good thing is, since we've been calling ourselves the Kratom Gals for so long, all people, they couldn't find our account because they deleted our account or my account. But, we went on Venus's YouTube and it's still the Kratom Gals. So people just search for Kratom Gals and found that was so cool. People found us anyway. It's like, we're not going to stop. Look, the AKA is not going to stop us from having our discussions. That's been going on since February. YouTube has tried since last December. They deleted the YouTube we're on now is the one I had to start at 0. And I did go to the AKA and GK. When I lost that YouTube last December, I have it. I have an email. I sent one to the AKA. And I sent one to the GKC. And Mac didn't respond right away. He didn't respond until a week later when we're doing this live stream, and I mentioned how the AKA did not respond to my email that somebody told him. And then all of a sudden he responded and did not address YouTube. He addressed Meta, which is Facebook. I emailed back. I'm like, I'm talking about YouTube. I lost my YouTube. Not talking about Meta. No response. GKC responded to my email when I lost my YouTube. And I sent them the same exact email. They responded to me in 12 hours. What can we do to help? I was super impressed. I mean, there was nothing that could be done. But still, we as consumers and educators and advocates, we look to those two groups to be there to support us. And I don't expect anything less than that. And everybody should.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I was on NBC Nightly News about a little over a year ago, some of y'all may remember NBC Nightly News did a very balanced news story, shared my story, and then showed an anti-Kratom story. And I was so excited that my story was going to get on the national. It was a short segment. You could almost blink and miss it. But they showed me making my swamp water Kratom tea. It's on national news with Lester Holt. It was pretty exciting. I sent the link to Mac. I texted it to him. I couldn't believe how many AKA newsletters came out since my news story. And no mention of a positive. All it was focused on was the negative side of this news story. And we need your support. We need your donation. No mention of anything positive. I was shocked. So.
And we need more positivity.
We do.
People need to know.
We really do.
Yeah. I want people to know there's a positive news story out there. And I thought certainly the AKA is going to put that out and let people know, hey, say that there was a balance, both sides. But I have all the emails. They were all there was 4 or 5. I'd have to go count again. Quite a few. And then eventually Mac did an AKA webinar. And for the first time, mentioned the positive side of the news story. I mean, NBC Nightly News, that's a pretty big deal. How often is national?
That's huge.
News?
It is.
How often do we get positive attention about Kratom? They came in my home and interviewed me. There's clips of that in the news story. There's clips of me sitting right here doing my podcast. They showed that in the news report. But most importantly, they showed me making my Kratom swamp water tea and drinking it. What any media outlet has done that?
None.
On the national level.
None on a national level.
So, I expect more from these groups to be,
And it should be more positive, like you said, and showing more positive. We need more because there's so much negative out there. We don't need more of it. We need more people doing more positive things.
Right. And even as an advocate, we need positivity.
Yes, yes. And doing positive videos, putting them on TikTok or whatever, and, showing how it helps you and things like that. Not all that negativity. We have enough of that for sure.
Yeah.
Celebrate the good because there's
Right.
not nearly enough of it.
Well, I was so excited. I was not expecting it to be on the nightly news. It was NBC, but they told me that it didn't run for a few months, but when it ran, they said it's probably going to be on our streaming service, which means, they have the 24/7 online with the streaming news of NBC. And they said, and all the major ones do that. So that's what they prepared me for. What I wasn't expecting was when they contacted me and said, your story is going to be on NBC Nightly News tonight with Lester Holt. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my God, that was incredible to have anything positive about Kratom in that way, And yes, they did, a negative. The one in New Jersey where they're, trying to do that law, the guy that had all kinds of things in his system.
Chris, something.
Not just
or
Kratom.
CJ's
law.
CJ's law.
Yeah, that was the other side of the story. But I've got all those AKA, emails where it was a one-sided mention of it. I have the link to the AKA webinar when Mac finally acknowledged it. It was after quite a few emails where there was no acknowledgement. And I was a big disappointment. I didn't talk about that publicly, but I was highly disappointed.
Sad.
The way things were framed and turned into, this is why we, I don't remember the exact, don't quote me, but when you read that, anybody can go back and look at those newsletters and see them if you get newsletters from them. The way it was framed, it's like, wow. No mention of the positive part, and let's use the negative part of this big deal story to get donations.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But hey, you did it. You got on the news.
I was so proud of myself. I was so proud.
I'm proud of you too. You should be. You did something huge, so that's good.
I was so excited, and the reporter was amazing, and he had thoroughly researched Kratom. He didn't even look at notes. We sat there for hours. I wish this footage was available. He interviewed me for hours, and he asked so many. And one of the questions he asked that I wish had made the news story, one of his questions was, do you want regulation with Kratom? And I'm like, yes, me and all of us that are advocates, we want regulations. We want common sense regulation. And he said, I was surprised to hear that. Like, I did not expect you to say that. And I'm like, I don't understand why people would think we would not want. We want to know what's safe to go in our bodies. We want to know it is what they're saying it is. Right. So I always thought it was interesting that he told me he wasn't expecting me to answer the way I did with that. But it was a great experience, and they had seen my podcast, and that's what prompted them to reach out. And I loved how in the segment they showed me sitting at my desk doing my podcast. That was super cool.
It is, and people are able to see that side of it and how it helps you and real information about it, which people don't get to see. That's not in the news. It's always that one-sided. It's gas station
and somebody
heroin.
who's upright, who's not falling over, who's looks like they're having and because what they're trying to always put out is that people are high on Kratom and they're high on any of the others, and that's just not true, and especially for Kratom, that's just not true. You'd have to take so much that people like us don't do that, so
exactly.
Like your well-being, like you were upright, you were able to do this, you were alert, you were awake, you weren't you know, you weren't high, you weren't. So I mean, that I thought that was a very important segment because it let everybody know that how helpful, you know.
Right.
I just get back to the same thing. I wish everybody would just have a little tiny tea and
Yeah.
try for themselves,
Yeah.
you know.
I even know athletes that take it and stuff like that. I talk to them. It would be great if they would talk about it more too, so they can see other healthy people that it helps and it's okay, you know?
Well, and when we get the, you know, the all new episodes of the Kratom Stories podcast out, you know, Dan's been working on it.
Yep.
And Sarah, I appreciate y'all helping me with that. And the episode that will be out once we get this going again is really the most high profile person that uses Kratom. He's an actor. He's been in all kinds of TV shows and movies. I wasn't too familiar with him before I interviewed him, but then once I
Walking
looked him up,
Dead, yeah.
when I looked him up, I'm like, holy cow, this guy's been in some stuff. And I watched some of his movies and TV shows. I'm like, good looking guy, and he's a great actor. Well, in this conversation, you know, he mentions there are lots of celebrities that use Kratom. They're just not publicly, you know, show themselves with it because of the stigma, because so much misinformation. He's not afraid to be out there with it. He created the first Kratom beer, and it's amazing too. I drank it and I was like, this tastes like a beer. It does not taste like Kratom. It doesn't taste like those what are those Kratom drinks? What are those called?
The seltzers.
Seltzers. It is not like the seltzers. It's not like an extract. It doesn't taste. It tastes like you really think you're drinking a beer, but it's Kratom. It's Kratom. Kratom extract in a low. It's like I think. Was it like 30? I think it's 30 milligrams. So it's low, so you can enjoy a can of beer that tastes like it. It has like a hint of grapefruit. It really was. I was impressed. I didn't think I was going to like it, and I haven't drank in a long time. I was never a big drinker, but I was like, well, I always like beer. So my idea was when I interview him, I'll drink it while I'm interviewing him. But you know, I lose my YouTube channel. That was back in December. So I'm like, well, I know I can't put that part of the interview up because I'm pretty sure YouTube, you know, I think the big reason why I lost my accounts because I would talk about brands. I'm like, oh, I'm sure me drinking a Kratom beer while I'm interviewing somebody is going to get me in. I haven't been in any trouble on YouTube in a long time. I want to stay that way. So, and then TikTok, oh my gosh, we had our TikTok live yesterday. We didn't get in any trouble. We used to always get in trouble with TikTok. Yeah, there's something about the lives. We used to do a TikTok live every Friday for a long time, me and Venus and some others. And you always had to be careful we always had to say Krati, but we'd always accidentally say Kratom out loud. In TikTok videos, it was okay to say the word Kratom, but not in TikTok lives. And they've deleted me while I was in the middle of a live before. I would get put in a timeout. They don't block you. They put you in a timeout on TikTok themselves, not others. And we went through so much. We stopped doing them after a while because we just, we always, I remember every week, Venus, a thing would pop up and say, you know, oh, we're talking about regulated goods. So they won't let people
restrict it. Yeah.
They restrict it every time. And we've been doing it the last 2 Fridays. We did yesterday. We did the Friday before was just impromptu, and we did not get in any trouble.
And it looked like it was getting out to a lot of people too.
It was. So,
and I loved being able to pop on, even though
I love that. That was great yesterday.
Yeah.
So for anybody,
I popped on for a minute, but then I had to pop off again because I hadn't planned for it. So.
Yeah. So join us on Fridays over at my my TikTok if you want to come hang out with us. We just do our little casual hangout. Is under Kratom Stories Podcast over on TikTok. The username is Tea Leaf Podcast because there was a time where my very first TikTok got deleted. They got mad at me for talking about Kratom so much. I had to set up a new one, so I called it Tea Leaf Podcast. That's the username. If you look it up by just name, it's Kratom Stories Podcast, but Kratom with an 8, K-R-8-T-O-M, and TikTok has like a love-hate thing with us talking about Kratom. I went through a lot of periods over the last few years where they just were not letting people see my stuff. But lately, I'm getting a lot more views, a lot more followers. I'm at 8,700 followers. But if they had not restricted me so much in the past year, I'd have probably double the number of followers right now, because they're weird. They go through these periods where they restrict because of what we talk about. That's why we have the school community.
Yeah, they've done it to our account where some of our videos no one sees, and then some of them it goes up and down. It's weird, but same kind of thing.
Well, this is why we have school. I still do TikTok. I still do all the social media. For those that don't know, I've been teaching social media for 20 years. I'm a fan of social media. I'm not a fan of the censorship and all the restrictions, but I always find a workaround. And so when I lost my TikTok a few years ago, I created a new one, which is the one I have now, that I've built up over the last 2.5 years. But when I lost my first one, that's the day I set up our school, because I'm like, I'm going to go pay for us to have our own private community where no one can take anything away from us. So Kratom Real Talk is where we hang out over on school. I pay money every month, so we have a safe place. You don't pay for it. It's just out of my pocket. I have a free community where we have a place where I can put up a video of me making and drinking my swamp water tea. I can't put that up on TikTok or YouTube. They'll take it down and I'll get in trouble. But I can do that in school. I have a 7-minute video on school of me how to use blade papes, because I knew somebody would want to watch a video like that of how, step by step, how do you use those blade papes? I hear about them, but I don't know how to use them. And I know some people have said, wow, that was so helpful. So, we're not restricted over there. So there's no censorship. So be sure to join us if you haven't already over on the school platform at school.com, but the shortcut link is kratomrealtalk.com. Coming out. It's a great community.
It is. There's so much education.
Answer more questions. Right. We can answer more questions.
We can answer a lot more freely. But it's not a community. It's a community for natural kratom. It's our conversations revolve around natural kratom. For anybody who goes around saying, she's an advocate for 708. It's like, oh, then I guess you're not in our school community, because actually recently somebody came in. I think they were on the industry side. I wasn't really sure, but they started talking about 708. I said, it even says when you join that this is not a platform to discuss addiction or 708. It's strictly for natural kratom. But I had to make this person stop, and I guess I
saw that.
I guess
I did see that.
They stopped after that, but. So
I have to go though. I have to get back to packing, but I'll be on again. So I'm happy that I'm getting back into my routine and having Saturdays with you. I missed you. I missed you all. So.
We have missed you too. I'm so glad. I'm glad y'all were able to move and do all the things you're doing.
Yeah.
And you'll be back as a regular.
Yeah. As you can hear, it's echoey because I have nothing. It's okay.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. We were thrilled to have you back. So thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. I'll be back. See you all.
Great Saturday. Down there.
Bye.
Tell Dan we say hi.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. I was so busy talking I didn't. Here, let me close her out.
And now I'm in the same process that she's in, and we should be moved in over there to the new place in about 10 days. So when we can actually, have the house. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm glad she's
back.
Yeah.
And they moved state, so that was a lot of work for them. We don't have to. We're just an hour away, but.
So, we're already coming up at the top of the hour. Did y'all want to watch any more videos, or did y'all want to?
Whatever you'd like. I'm good because I'm home.
I'm game for whatever.
I'm good.
Okay, because I have this interesting video I've been holding on to. It's just we haven't had time, but I love to play it because it's so different and interesting, and it's just different and interesting are definitely the right ways to describe it. So it's this podcast I had found in Idaho Falls. Idaho Falls is in Idaho, where they recently banned Kratom. And the title of this video says, "Sales of Kratom banned in Idaho Falls. Did the city council try it before they knocked it?" I'm like, what is this? But I wasn't expecting this. So let me play this for y'all.
Idaho Falls. IFAF is brought to you by new improved Kratom.
Jeez Louise.
Yes, Kratom. Give it a try sometime. Now banned starting July 1st, so buy your supply for the 4th of July now.
Idaho Falls. Jeez Louise.
Maybe you've heard that Kratom will be banned. Unanimously, the Idaho Falls City Council voted unanimously to ban the sale of Kratom starting July 1st in Idaho Falls.
Right. Now, how will this actually affect people who use it? Not a lot. You'll have to go to a different convenience store, maybe a little further away.
Yeah.
Because basically it's just in Idaho Falls. So Ammon, Shelley, Rigby, all fine.
Right. I think that's true.
Yeah.
Right. So don't panic. Here's what I want to know. Did anyone on the city council who voted unanimously to ban the sale of Kratom, has anyone on the city council tried it?
Does that matter?
You knocked it, but did you try it? Because I think that's the rule.
No. There are some things that you absolutely can knock before you try. For example, meth. I'm never going to do meth. There's no good reason to.
Carly, hear me out. Just once.
Mike, never. Not even once. That's what the billboards say. You know
Comparing
this.
meth?
Okay. Here's the thing. There's enough studies and stuff. People understand it well enough. They know it's not good for you and that there's not really a good reason to keep it around.
We actually tried it.
We did, and it sucked. It was the worst.
We're literally having a conversation one day. Hey, have you ever tried? You see that shit at Maverick that's in the stacks and the impulse purchase? You ever tried that? No. What is it? Is it speed? No. Come to find out, it's like
it's kind of like an almost
opioid-like thing.
Yeah.
And then this new 7-hydroxy whatever is 70 times as powerful or something as a.
Yeah.
I might
which is insane to
have
me.
that wrong.
Yeah.
But and I tried that.
Yeah.
And it made me sick.
See, I tried half of a normal one and I was like, screw this, never again.
Well, I do feel some sympathy, honestly, to people who are addicted to it.
Right.
But now might be a good time to wean yourself off of that. Plus, nothing says loser boyfriend like addicted to Kratom.
Yeah. Just like the guys who sit around and do nothing but play video games all day. Come on, get an actual personality instead of just a shopping addiction to weird, dumb stuff.
Right.
Anyway.
No judgment.
But now I will say, if you don't know a lot about it and you want to know more, I feel like John Oliver did a really great segment on Kratom and similar substances that you can get at gas stations like that. So that's a really good one to check out if you want to, educate yourself a little bit. Plus he's funny, so that's nice.
Yeah, he is funny.
All right, we'll stop there. So,
word.
A very silly, whimsical conversation about Kratom, but I just loved how did the city council even try it?
Yeah, I love that part, but everything after that, it was like, nope.
It was a bit much. It was a bit much.
They went off the skyscraper.
Yep, they sure
right.
did.
And I love how they have sympathy for people in addiction, get off it now, but no sympathy for the people that are in pain that are going through that.
Right.
Because that side's never presented.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother lives in Boise, and he sent me a message because I had talked to him about Kratom. And he said, "What is this BS?" I went, "Yeah. I'll have to be real careful coming to your state now." He went, "This isn't, none of it's true, is it?" I said, "No, Kratom doesn't kill people. 7-OH doesn't kill people. Stupidity sometimes kills people."
Right.
And he said, "I've been with you when you consume Kratom. I don't even know you have." I said, "Exactly. That's responsible adult consumption." He said, "How did they get by with saying this stuff?" I said, "That's the $64,000 question. So when you have an answer, let me know, because we'd all like to know that."
Yep. And I have one more video.
Exactly.
One more for y'all. So another one I've been holding on to when we had more time. This was from a YouTube, some church with a pastor. But what caught my attention is the title says, "Why aren't churches talking about Kratom?" I'm like, okay, let's see what this one's about. So let's watch this.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Wyrock, and in today's episode, we're asking the question, why aren't churches talking about Kratom? This is prompted by an article I read recently on The Athletic, the New York Times sports website, about Brandon Clark. If you're a basketball fan, you may recognize that name. Brandon Clark was a forward for the Memphis Grizzlies. As a young player, he was very dynamic. He was part of that Ja Morant kind of young core that really seemed like it was leading Memphis in a good direction. Well, recently, Brandon Clark at 29 passed away. Tragically. This is part of a downward spiral that had been happening in Clark's life. He was arrested in Arkansas this year in April after officers found 235 grams of a drug called Kratom. Now, let me just talk real quick about Kratom. He was arrested because in Arkansas, Kratom, especially at that level, and another Kratom and another product called 7-OH, in Arkansas, that product is illegal, at least at large quantities, which is why Clark was charged with felonies. But it is not illegal in a lot of states, despite the fact that the FDA has warned that it is create habit forming, it can cause seizures, it can cause liver failure. I mean, it is dangerous stuff, but a lot of states are just behind the curve. In fact, when Clark was arrested, he told officers it's just Kratom, piggybacking on kind of the widespread public perception that this drug is not a problem. You can find this drug in some states in gas stations. That's how available it is. It's marketed as kind of an energy thing. It can help with pain management, athletic performance. Some people even say it helps you recover from opioid addiction. Of course, the problem is it is habit forming in and of itself. Again, you can get it in gas stations, smoke shops, convenience stores. It's marketed for wellness, performance enhancing, high energy. No one's talking about it, and yet it is one of the fastest growing drug habit inducing problems in our country, including taking the life now of a 29-year-old athlete, a guy in pretty good physical shape, who, in his words, was just using Kratom. I'm just not hearing enough about this drug in our churches, and we got to be talking about it more, because if we're just talking about alcohol or marijuana, we're behind the curve. This drug is something that I guarantee you any young person you know knows about, and probably knows someone who is taking it and may even, God forbid, be taking it themselves.
All right, so
that one just made that one should have come with a throw warning.
Yeah, I was yeah.
First, not a drug. Second off, not something kids are going to consume. Third, it did not kill Brandon Clark. Other substances did.
Right.
And guess what? In Arkansas, any amount is a felony.
Right.
So let's at least get our facts straight.
Yeah, that was just so much bad information he put out. That's why I wanted y'all to, and yeah, like Mike, also known as Craig, says, the misinformation is staggering. It is. That was like so much misinformation in what he just said.
They should give awards for the worst information on a podcast or on a show, because that guy would take first place.
Yeah. Yeah. So I figured we'd end with that one today. You know, there's a lot of misinformation out there on the internet, and people are watching these things, and they think, now they're thinking, oh, I know what this Kratom stuff is. It's like, yeah, you're just getting a lot of misinformation and propaganda.
They're wrong, right?
Yeah, very wrong. Very, very wrong. So yeah, that's lots of crazy videos today. Lots of crazy stuff out there. So if
that
anybody,
was just insane.
it really was. So if
Crazier
anybody,
and crazier.
And you know what? If a church was going to talk about kratom, they would have to talk about the fact that it is a natural plant provided by guess who.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's do our word or phrase of the week for the Kratom Gals for y'all to put in the comments so we know you're here, you're part of the conversation. You know, let's use plant power. Plant power. So put that in the comments for those that are here live. If you're watching,
Love that.
If you're watching the replay, because that's what this is about. We're talking about the power of this plant. So plant power. Let me put it in there real quick. Plant power. So number one, we know you're here. We're at the 1 hour and 59-minute mark. If you're watching the replay and you're all the way to the 1 hour 59-minute mark, wow! Thank you for being here for the whole thing. And we know you're here with us if you are putting that into the comments. So
it means a lot.
We watched 12 videos today. We did a lot. We had lots to talk about. And for anybody that got here late, go watch the replay and catch the first half hour. It's eye-opening. Yeah. Great discussion, ladies, as always.
I always enjoy it. It's like my Narnia, getting away and just sitting and talking to everybody. And now that we have the Friday TikToks,
yeah, the Friday
more
TikToks are
fun.
back. And I'm so glad we're not getting in trouble in a TikTok
And the
live.
Thursday and Sunday schools.
Yep.
We just have to fill in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday now.
Right. And it's all on our calendar in school too. So make sure you check that out.
Yeah, it's in the school calendar. Thank you all for joining and being so active in the chat today. Mike says Venus Kitty is so cute.
Thank you. This one is Fiona.
Aw, sweet.
Very cute.
Yeah. I've had them since they were 3 weeks old, this big. So they think I'm just their human cat tree.
Very cute.
I remember when you got them all, rescued them all. They were all rescued.
And because of Kratom, you took care of them as little tiny babies. How many days old were they when you?
They were about 3 weeks old, and they had to be fed every two hours. So I just set my alarm and get up. It was rough.
That's just rough for anybody, anytime. But you kept saying, because of Kratom, I could do this, which is just amazing.
I was able to do it. And that's the only reason I was able to do it is because of plain leaf Kratom tea.
It's an amazing plant we will always fight for as Kratom Gals, and anybody that's telling you otherwise or that we're the 7-0 gals. You know, we're all about natural Kratom, and we're not going to demonize anybody in the pain community that finds other things that they're using to help with their chronic pain. And sometimes those discussions come up here with some of our co-hosts being vulnerable and sharing their personal experience, and we give them the stage to do that. But there are people in our community that would rather y'all not do that and would rather shame you to not have that discussion. And I have a problem with that. I don't use 7-0H, but I'm not going to tell Twinkle she cannot come on here, be vulnerable, and talk about her personal experience. She's not telling anybody to buy it. Not telling anybody, she's not advocating for people to use it. She's sharing her personal experience. But you know, when you get someone that likes to twist and turn things, if you want to believe that, fine. Don't come. You don't need to come here and hang out with us then. We're not trying to divide the community, and we know plenty of people watch both sides and are part of both sides, which is totally fine. Although they'll tell you pick a side, but you know, we don't do that here.
No, we want us all to get along, all of us to fight together. Nobody has to pick a side, in my opinion. Just advocate.
And just because we say get along doesn't mean we have to agree with what they say or be on their show or allow them to denigrate or berate us. Publicly, we have to put forth the same effort, the same steps forward. And pretend that we like each other for the plant. Because that is what it should all be about. Not personalities, not individual opinions, the plant. Let's get back to what we're supposed to be doing.
Right. Exactly. Well, I loved our conversation today. Thank
Me
y'all
too.
for joining. And I've had to watch last week's episode a few times. That was so powerful last week. And Twinkle, you were just amazing, opening
Thank
up
you.
and talking and sharing. And the clip I put together that I posted yesterday. So if anybody doesn't want to sit through a 2 hour and 20-minute replay from last week's Kratom Gals,
Although it's worth it.
It's worth it, but at least check the clip. And
Yeah.
oh man, that was so powerful, so
Gives
good.
a great
conversation.
voice to the pain patients.
Yes. Yes.
It truly was for me an amazing 4th of July because of that show.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I truly feel like that's the best one I've been a part of so far. And part of it is because we were all open, because we were all a little more vulnerable, a little more, at the same time as being vulnerable, we were also standing up stronger for ourselves.
Yep.
And pushing back.
Right.
We have sat back and allowed the negativity to come at us. And last week we went, no.
Yeah.
Not this week.
Yeah, because in a month, a lot of pain patients that were getting relief or dual relief or using both or back and forth, that's not going to be available. So, we're going to have to just, find our way. My way will be through God, but because I did that for an entire 10 years anyway, it might be difficult, but I'll be fine. Nothing negative came out of it for me while I was taking it. Nothing is going to be negative after. And I'm just going to say in prayer for the people that might not be the same for,
Right,
people that might have a tougher time.
Yeah, there are going to be people that cannot tolerate the pain and that nothing else has worked for. And we are going to see loss. And I think the community as a whole needs to acknowledge that fact.
Yes.
And try to change it. Because we don't have to accept the fact that people are going to die when there is a solution at hand. So, let's everybody get off their high horse and actually start helping each other.
And it should be regulated. It should
regulate.
Yeah. Regulate.
Because everyone that I have ever talked to has said regulation.
Yeah.
No problem with regulation.
And I tell you what, right now, more and more people in the chronic pain community are speaking out and getting vulnerable and talking about how they use natural kratom and they're supplementing with very small amounts of 7-OH. And there was an interesting tweet from Coach Hardgains earlier this week. He put out a video talking about it. So I did a quote tweet on top of it, and I said, so many people in the chronic pain community are speaking out now. We're tired of being the forgotten ones, because time and time again, the people in the pain community are the forgotten ones. That was the main theme of last week's show, but is that even though, like I'll say a million times, I don't consume 7-OH, but those of us in the chronic pain community, those of us that suffer in chronic pain, we keep becoming the forgotten ones. We were with the whole opioid epidemic, that we were not addicted to those, but because of other people's actions,
and
we
there are
had to
people
pay the price.
Right. And there are people in the Kratom community that other people think are tea only, that they have also had to rely on it for extra pain relief. And I will never tell who those people are. I probably don't even know half of them, but there are people out there, and all I'm saying is they can't even come forward and say, I have this experience of having used it and it helped me, because they're afraid of being berated, of being dismissed, and all the same things that's happening to us. They can't say nothing. They're not going to be able, and probably people in Claudia's community probably even more. And some of them are able to reveal and some of them can't, because some of the community overlaps a little bit. And that's unfortunate that people can't even tell their truth or share their relief, because of being blasted and outed and treated so badly.
Poorly.
And
Yeah.
so, you know.
Well, I'm sure they're
but-
seeing how we're being berated, and how some of it is directed at me because I allow this open discussion, even though he's accused me of I must be working with them and I must be hiding something because I won't debate him. It's like it's sometimes there's just no words for that. But, you know, we're not going to let people tell us what we can and cannot talk about. And I don't ever want anybody to be made to feel uncomfortable when they're being vulnerable to share their personal story.
I grew up a long time ago. I don't need anybody telling me what I can and cannot say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or what we can or cannot do for our own pain relief.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you imagine if we went to tell somebody else what they can or can't? They'd put a stop to it right then, just boom. You wouldn't even have a chance to proceed to tell them you shouldn't be doing that, or you better back off of that, or you can't. They wouldn't allow it, but they feel that it is okay for them to try to dictate somebody else's life. And
How about I
that's not
start
all right.
attacking people that drink Diet Coke?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. And Dr. Pepper and coffee and smoke
Shame
and
on you.
all
You
the
can't do
things.
that.
Let's demonize
Yeah.
people with all the different things that they have legal access to. So,
yep.
All right, y'all.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Excellent time
Thank
as
you, everybody.
always.
Thank
See you next week.
Yeah, we'll be back next Saturday as always. We're always here, and we'll end it with "You Can't Ban My Roots" because we're all fired up today. And Kelly's
Perfect.
such a great fired up type of song. So we'll see you all here next week. Thank you, gals. Thank you, everybody in the live chat, and thank you to people watching
Bye,
the
everyone.
replay.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks,
See
everybody.
you next week.
You can't ban roots, nah, 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 nah. You can't ban my truth, nah, 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 nah. Hey, Florida, we see the game. HB 1489, not today. Natural leaf, ancient tree, now they wanna make it a felony. Nah, we ain't playing that corporate tune. Kratom's the voice of 1,000 moons. From the fields to the streets to the healing hands, you can't kill what the earth commands. They assess certification, regulation, tricks. Just another play to make the people sick. They write the rules, we break the chains. Your lobby games won't own our brains. One voice, one fight, we rise tonight. You can't ban my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the people rise. No 1489. Mail orders ban, remote sales cut. Who's that help? Big Pharma's gut. They don't want plants, they want pills. They don't want cures, they want bills. But guess what? We ain't that dumb. We'll shout this message till the war is won. Kratom's our anthem, Kratom's our right. HB 1489, we fight tonight. They write the rules, we break the chains. Your lobby games won't own our brains. One voice, one fight, we rise tonight. You can't ban my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the people rise. No 1489. You can't outlaw the trees. You can't outlaw the breeze. You can't outlaw the dreams. We are Kratom. We are free. a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the people rise.